this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to talk about the Acolyte and its chances of being a successful entry within the Disney's Star Wars franchise. Now for anybody who doesn't know, the Acolyte is the 6th live action Star Wars series after the likes of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor and Ahsoka. Created by Leslye Headland, it's set within the High Republic era, in which in terms of the mythology takes place of around 500 years before the events of the original trilogy of Star Wars movies, and this story focuses on the Jedi Order when it was at the height of its power. Now this era in terms of media was prominent in a series of comic books and novels running from 2021. In terms of the show itself, it will consist of 8 episodes and is due to debut on Disney Plus on June 4th, 2024. The main story will focus on a young Padawan who will reunite with her Jedi Master as they investigate a series of crimes. As the story progresses, they'll discover something far more sinister that goes on to threaten the entire existence of the Jedi. So we'll then talk about the first trailer of the series, which dropped on Tuesday the 19th of March 2024. And as a trailer, it wasn't really nothing special or amazing. It basically outlines the story as I confirmed before, where we see the Jedi investigating certain crimes. The visuals look probably consistent as to what we've seen, certainly more so with Ahsoka, where we have a bit more colour rather than a more gritty aesthetic than what we saw with Andor. Overall it looks fine, and that's something you would expect from the production value with these overall shows. Now I do have to claim some ignorance here, as I didn't know that Carrie was in the show. When we see her, of course we all know her playing the role as Trinity from the Matrix movies. So I don't believe she will actually be the leading role here. It does seem that it will be more a case of Lee-Jug-Jae's Jedi Master. He will be the more integral character, certainly from what we saw in the trailer. He has the more standout scenes throughout what we see so far. But from what I can tell, this seems like the Acolyte will be much more of an ensemble cast dynamic. And we have many group shots of the Jedis with all of their different coloured lightsabers throughout various locations. And of course, it also has to be noted of all the different ethnicities of the characters, which of course is something that I don't care about. But no doubt we'll see plenty of outrage and drama videos from this trailer, and also when the show drops, which unfortunately is just the way of things in terms of culture and entertainment. I'm sure we'll get the usual woke accusations, which in terms of the Star Wars series itself, I don't think that's an accusation that could label at most of them, perhaps only I would say Obi-Wan because of the focus on Reva. But I just hope that the Acolyte has a strong enough or substantial enough story where we can focus far more on that rather than all of the outrage surrounding diversity and inclusion. But for a trailer which was around 1 minute 46 seconds long, it didn't show too much, which is good to see. But at the same time, I'm not really sure that there was anything with it that really left me super hyped or excited. Now I'm sure there'll be the hardcore Star Wars fans that will be going through all of the trailer, picking out all of the little references and Easter eggs that relates to the lore of the High Republic, and that's all fine, and that's what you usually get when these trailers release. But overall we asked the real question as to whether the Acolyte can be the truly compelling and exciting Star Wars series to really capture or recapture the imagination of fans that Disney and Lucasfilm is so desperate to achieve. Well, I certainly hope so, but if you've been watching my channel and my reviews of the previous shows, you'll know that outside the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, I've found all other series to be very lackluster and disappointing, my biggest gripe being that I just couldn't find any justification for these shows to exist. I felt that before when the concept and the stories were announced, and I continue to share the same belief when actually watching the series. And to be honest, I have the same feelings about the Acolyte itself. And all of this links back to what I believe is the biggest problem with modern day Star Wars or Disney Star Wars, and that is the symptom of prequelitis. We're constantly going back to the mythology of previous characters and previous backstories instead of going forward in the continuity, which at the very least is what the Disney sequel trilogy tried to do. And I think overall it just shows a lack of creativity and risk taking, 2 elements that were really the foundation of the original franchise to begin with. Now just because it's a prequel, that doesn't mean to say that The Acolyte will be a bad show. Is there potential for it to be something like what we saw with the Game of Thrones prequel House of the Dragon? And when I talk about that, I mean in terms of the actual story being so set behind, in terms of what's gone on afterwards, that it won't be burdened by having to stick to original canon or following through with what happens with certain characters. The story is so far back that it has the opportunity to really be its own thing and create its own identity. This is something that has hampered all of the other shows, where of course more hardcore fans will point out many discrepancies in terms of the mythology and continuity when you're dealing with certainly the most iconic characters within the entire franchise. But despite all of that, I really do hope that the Acolyte can, in many ways, turn the tide in the overall quality in terms of the Disney Plus shows so far. Of course, they spent $4 billion on acquiring the franchise, so Disney is simply not going to give this up. At some stage, they will have to address the massive elephant in the room in terms of the sequel trilogy and eventually go back to producing more cinematic movies. We're still kind of half and half as to whether this Rey movie will actually happen. And there were some rumours circling around on the internet that Patty Jenkins has actually reinvigorated her participation in the role of the Rod Squadron movie. I'm still not convinced that that will happen either, but we will wait and see overall. But going back to the Acolyte, at the very least, if it can just be a very strong and solid Star Wars series, focusing much more on the story and just concentrate on being very exciting and compelling, then perhaps that Disney can show some signs in moving forward with its Star Wars franchise and go back to giving us something truly special and groundbreaking, which is what the series did to begin with. So those are my thoughts and feelings when looking at the first trailer of The Acolyte. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any further series or movies or any other topics within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.